Okay, it's time to begin priming the parts. Airbrushing, that is. Spent a lot of time cleaning up all these parts and making sure that they were nice and sanded down. It's an old kit, mind you, and there were a lot of things that I was a bit annoyed the fact of how clean, me cleaning up these parts. Let me see if I have an example here. So here is one of the bazookas that I've actually sanded down. Oh, sorry, primed it, you could say. And I don't know if you could see it here, but there is a little notch there that I must have missed during sanding. And there's one right there, and there's one right there. So now, since it's dried, I'm going to sand it down again, and then prime it again, just so I can get that out of the way. He's using black primer, Mr. Finishing Surfacers 1500 black. Could have used gray primer on the inner frame, but I'm going to metallic paint the inside, of course. However, even though I said that I was going to paint it black and then blue, primer is not considered a replacement to paint. It's designed to cover the color, and then you apply the next layer, the base layer color. So, primer is great to verify that you got not only the coverage of the color, but also if there's any scratches that you must have missed, seam lines that you need to clean up, touch-ups here and there. Also, I'll be using a, oh, you know what, I forgot to bring something here. I'll be also using the sanding sponges or sandpaper, so that way I can remove whatever leftover mistakes that I've made, or if the primer doesn't go down smoothly, I can smooth it out. I ran out of the blue for gloves. I gotta get more. Actually, I was thinking of buying black gloves. Probably be a lot easier. Okay, let's get some stuff done. First up, I'm going to take care of this part, this out of the way. Realize painting black on yellow is not a good idea. I'm going to be painting it white, so I'm not priming. I may have to get the gray primers for this, and then paint it white so I can paint the yellow. down using 400, then using a 600 grit. easy. Normally I go for around 7, but they had it for that price. I said, oh, really? Take it. Gimme. Alright, so these are 2 problematic ones that hopefully a lot of sanding worked for me. Let's see how it looks like when I finish applying the primer. Oh, ran out of primer. They probably didn't have the foresight that was going to happen. Or where the modeling industry is going to go to. No one can predict the future of where things will be going. But this one here, a lot of work sanding down, took care of that. The only thing I did not take care of is that inside one. That's, well, I did the best I could. And I know somebody's going to say, well, it's not enough. It's not enough. With the selecting of paints that we're going to use and go from there. Alright, so right now I'm going to give some parts specific color tones and try to mix and match. One I'm going to be using is the Modo gunmetal. Or, is it gunmetal? I think so. And unfortunately, I didn't turn on the AC, the spray booth fan because I wanted to, didn't want to have that distracting both the sounds. But right now I'm just doing this at this moment. This is just a light pass of this. This gives it a nice sheen tone. Maybe you're not able to see it, but obviously when it's fully painted you will. And there are a lot of detailed parts here that I'm going to try to mask off once this whole part dries and then paint it another color tone. Something to highlight it more. I had another metallic color tone which I wanted to use, but I think maybe if I can get it one color based tone like this and then another one, it'll show different, slight differences, variations in the color, or the texture that is. I kind of realized that a few builds ago with one of my paints where I think Titan's Blue 1 and there was another color that I have, they were almost similar. It's from the same company, just it was named differently. So, alright. So I have to be careful which one to use, because then I'll make a mistake and darn it, I already used that paint. Now I gotta repaint it again. The inner frame parts I'm painting it. I don't have to worry about it because it's not going to show off anything, but at least give it that nice look to it. This one, oh my god, it's the other one. This guy right here. is another culprit where all I have to do is paint this area, but I'm going to paint the whole thing. I'm going to paint the thruster bells a different metallic tone, which I got to find. I have so much metallic I haven't bothered to review it. And so, sure enough, I just realized that I'm already out, or about to be out, of alclad paints. Huh. I have a lot of color, candy color tones. Whoops. That was the timer. That means my time is up. So there's this detail part there, which I'm going to make a hole, a masking tape hole, to wrap it around it and then give it another color tone over it. But for now, let me just give it the base color tone and then get that out of the way. Alright, so began painting some parts, didn't record it, but just want to give you a brief look at some of them, because some parts, few and far between, didn't want to take up a lot of time just to paint them all and show it on the camera. For starters, I painted the light bluish gray color tones of the kit, which is basically what you see in the waist with this color. And what I used was ice silver. It has a bluish hinge tone to it. It's kind of very faint. And at first I was going to use 337, but you know what? I kind of want a little chromy or a little, metallic look to it here and there. So I painted this color, which is really nice. It was actually one of these paints that I used when I painted my Mazinger 160 scale. Here's this part, which is okay. Came out really nice. And then, of course, this is the shoulder part, which in reality, I'm going to probably mask it off just to expose these and paint it a darker color tone. That's something I'm going to probably do. And then I nearly forgot to paint this, the minefield. So what I did was I did painted this color, but I'm going to mask off areas, mainly maybe the holes there and this part here, and then the other side I'm going to probably mask off that hole and then paint it another color. I don't know whether I'm going to be using this or maybe something a little more darker, but we'll see. I mean, yeah, I wanted, I didn't want to just forget to paint this guy. I had it hanging over my head, and I forgot to, say, oh darn it, I forgot about this. That and the fact that I also forgot to prime it. So I painted it without priming. Yeah, smart of me. Very, very smart. But right now, I am going to let me clean up. Let me see. I did clean this up a bit. Clean up my airbrush a bit. Let me just clean up the needle. And I'm going to paint off a little. I'm going to clean up a little bit of what's in the reservoir. I did clean this up a few moments ago, but I always go back again to make sure that everything's taken care of, any residuals. what to do is put some paint, because I'm going to paint the yellow parts. I already painted these parts. These are the blue, which I need to paint black and blue. But this one is for the yellow parts. Do I have enough white in here? Oh yeah, I have plenty. Let me just make sure that it shouldn't be a lot. I just want to put a little bit in there. There we go. Obviously, the reasons why I'm going to paint white on yellow is because that way I can highlight it with the yellow. And this is dangerous. Where's my siphon? I had it here a minute ago. Yeah, there it is. That's like about 40% in there. It's a beautiful morning. Not the heat wave that we've been waiting for, but it's good. Good weather for painting. Needs to be mixed up a bit more. I think it needs more thinner. Oh no, that's flowing okay. Let it mix up a little bit more. You know what? I need a little bit more in there. Because what happens is that when it settles down in the bottom, it will thick up a bit. So a little bit more should be fine. It's still not. Alright, now it's flowing. Let's prepare this. I don't have to worry about the black on the side because they're going to be covered up by the outside thruster valves. going to give it a second pass later on. Right now it feels like it's going a little wet, but as it dries, I'm going to give it a second one because I don't want to lose the amount of paint that I just added into this airbrush. So I'm going to give it a second pass. Some of the parts that were here, I decided to take it off and put them on clips that I've already used up. And there is something that I want to mention. Alright, that's good. There are these small little blue parts that goes on the cheek on the Kampfer. It's these. This little part right there is yellow. So I'm going to have to do this again later on, just so I can mask it off. Well, I first painted the blue color tone, then mask it off, paint it white, and then paint it yellow. And then, of course, since there's a kind of like a little line in the middle, you get a panel line marker or a panel line marker, you could say. Just painted in the inside the marker, the image, or the detail. So it looks exactly like you see in the box art. Alright, so that completes those four. I'm going to give another pass on this one. I'm going to wait until it dries, and then we move on to the next color.